Welcome, I'm Jessica Lombard, Associate Superintendent.
And I'm Superintendent John Berkey, and this is Huntley 158 Today. You know, Jessica, something that we always say is to be a world-class school district, like we like to consider ourselves in Huntley, we need to always be looking at the best world-class education around the world.
Dr. Berkey, you just had an opportunity to go to Finland this summer, didn't you?
I did, and we got to look at their education system and see why their students are performing so well. And we can always bring back elements that we learned from other school districts, both in the United States and around the world.
Well, today we have a guest who had that same opportunity, just another place. Brooke Atlas, who is in her 4th year with Huntley 158, actually is one of our music teachers teaching band over at Marlowe. Brooke, you had an opportunity to travel abroad this summer, and we'd like to talk about that today, but why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Right, so I attended the University of Illinois, and at the University of Illinois, I had the opportunity to be the Marching Illini drum major, which was a really wonderful leadership role while I was there. It was an awesome performance opportunity to be on the field at all of the football games while I was there.
So you had this experience this summer that you actually were telling me about a month ago, where you actually went and taught in Israel for a month over the summer. So tell us, first of all, what prompted you to go and have an experience like that?
Well, I received an email sometime last fall from a previous trip that I had gone to Israel for, and they were looking for teachers. And I have been to Israel several times. I absolutely love the country, and I kind of thought it was the perfect opportunity. I'm a teacher. I was able to use my summer in a productive way. So I applied for this fellowship. It was called Talma, and it's the Israel Program for Excellence in English. So that's kind of what prompted me to actually apply. And the more I looked into it and the videos that I saw from previous summers, I was just really excited to jump on board. It was the 3rd summer that they had it.
What were some of the things you noticed about the school system, the education system there, and how it compares or differs with ours?
So we were placed in a low-income area in Israel. So this was the first summer that I taught in my specific community. It was called Kiryat Malachi, which stands for City of Angels. And while I was there, I was able to see something very different than what I teach here in Huntley. First of all, I was teaching elementary school. We were teaching 3rd going into 4th grade students. I taught in an Orthodox elementary school. So again, very, very different from here, where you had to dress modestly and the girls prayed every morning. It was an all-girls school. What I noticed that was a big difference is the culture in Israel is very fast-paced. People are very honest there, they're upfront, and I think it's a lovely culture that they have there. It translates to the students. So my Israeli classroom was much louder than my classroom here, which is funny because I teach band. Yeah. However, I had 32 students in my class, and they were very honest. They go by a first name basis. So I was either called Brooke or I was called Amara, which is teacher in Hebrew. However, I did find some similarities, and if you're gonna love students and you're gonna show them that you're there for them, they're gonna always show love back to you.
When you were teaching English, what kind of methods did you use to help teach the 3rd, 4th grade students English?
So I brought my ukulele to Israel, and that was a really cool opportunity because I wrote a few songs for my students, and we would do a lot of singing and dancing to associate words with English words and music, because the lovely thing about music is that's a pretty universal thing. So we sang a song together, and the beginning of the program, they're kind of mumbling the words but singing the tune because they recognized it. And by the end of the program, I actually had the students running all of that. So I was able to take that video and watch the students. Every single student knew the words, and it was a really beautiful thing to see them learn English, not only as English, but through music, which is so important to me.
That's great. Is there anything that you've brought back and shared with your students this year about your experience, or any things that you're able to incorporate in the band classroom?
Yeah. Again, because teaching music is like teaching a language, I was able to put myself in a situation where I couldn't necessarily communicate verbally with all the students right away because they didn't know English. So I had to learn how to bring things to its most basic form. And so obviously I already know English and I already know music, but seeing those students without the verbal communication kind of look at me like I was speaking gibberish to them sometimes. And I thought, wow, I thought I brought this back to its most basic form. I even have to break it down further. And that has been eye-opening to me with my beginning band students and teaching them how to read music and how to put their instruments together. And that has definitely brought a new light into my teaching here.
One last question is, we all see on the news a lot of the troubles that are going on in the Middle East. Did you feel, was it a safe environment where you were, or is it constantly people being on guard? What was that like?
So I've never felt unsafe in Israel, and I've been there several times. There are security measures that are heightened there. You'll always see on the streets soldiers that they're not scary, they're there to protect you. And that's a very different cultural thing that can be a culture shock to people. They prepare the students and the community members for everything. So it was very interesting. While I was there, some of our necessary drills that we have, they have different drills that are there. Every school has a security guard at the front gate that's locked, so no one is really getting on the premises. So I thought that was really special to have at every single school there. Again, I just simply love the country. I've never felt unsafe. It just looks a little different.
Yeah, well, we really want to thank you for coming on today, and I think that was a great experience that you had, and we're able to bring back some of that to us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us at Huntley 158 today. If you have guests you'd like to see on future shows, topics you'd like discussed, or questions you'd like answered, please reach out to us at our District 158 Facebook or Twitter, #Ask158.